excellent day for an exorcism.
Welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast.
I'm John. Fuck capitalism!
I'm Lindsay, trying to write horror novels because I was a weird kid.
The whole world is your urinal.
Fuck the prime time, bitch!
I try not to make noise at any time, anywhere, ever.
Okay. Well, guess what? Welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast! You're gonna have to talk. I'm John!
I'm Lindsay.
I'm M.
And this is M's pick. This is Ginger Snaps from 2000. Anybody have any history of this?
I had seen it years ago, like many, many years ago. Like probably not long after it came out, and I remember liking it back then.
Yeah, same. I remember liking it. I like
just
Catherine Isabel. So.
Did a Google search when I was looking for movies to watch because I'm not like, there's not a list of horror movies that I want to watch in my head.
Yeah.
Probably something about horror movies with female leads or something like that.
Perfect.
Something like that. Not all of my picks are like that, though. So.
There must be a thing with Catherine Isabel because she's an American Mary.
Right,
and
that's
she's
what I was
that
thinking.
murderer in that movie. Plot synopsis! Let's do this.
Two death-obsessed sisters, outcasts in their suburban neighborhood, must deal with the tragic consequences when one of them is bitten by a deadly werewolf.
So has anybody here ever seen The Virgin Suicides?
I have.
Yes.
Does this kind of have that feel to it a little bit?
I didn't think about that.
I actually got a Jennifer's Body feel from
Me
it.
too.
A little bit.
Same.
Yeah. The main characters' names are Bridget and Ginger. They are sisters, and they like to take pictures of themselves being dead. Which, I was like, this fucking rules! This movie rules! They're kind of outcasts. They're 15 and they haven't had their period yet. They remind me a little bit of Carrie.
One of them's almost 16.
Yeah.
15 and 16. FYI, I didn't get my period till I was 15 either.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah, it happens.
it does
I
happen.
don't think it's as well, I don't know. I'm a guy. I don't think it's as abnormal as movies make it.
I
Right.
think it's getting to be younger and younger.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you think because of like the foods and everything? That
I think so.
Oh my god, I would kill for you to give a little 2-minute thing about your cavemen, cave women, periods, all of it.
They
Less
would have
bad?
barely had like a period because they were so physically active and
eating much healthier.
yeah,
like raw
their
foods
diet
and
and everything, like they would have been like pure muscle pretty much. Like they found this one, the body of like a cave girl. I know there's different names for all the different years and everything, but I just called them cavemen.
Yeah.
Mesozoic. What the fuck are you talking about?
They estimated her age to be about 15. She had already been pregnant. Or given birth possibly, and she had the muscle mass of like a bodybuilder of a man in their 30s today.
Okay.
Their bodies and how their bodies functioned would have just been different than it is now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like I told you that it's really fucked up that nature made vaginas so small that babies have to get out of there somehow, and you said they probably weren't that big when they were
Babies would have been much smaller. They would have been like, I remember my obstetrician actually telling me that 6 pounds was like the perfect baby.
Yeah. But people have so many C-sections and things now because it's harder.
And babies are so much bigger.
Right, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
There is a creature roaming the neighborhood that's killing all the dogs, and everyone knows it exists, but they don't know what it is. And
Yeah, they just find the dogs dead and bloody messes.
they go to school. We learn about them being sisters and outcasts, and they play field hockey. At this gym class, they play field hockey, and there's these group of dudes that just sit there and ogle them the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't remember high school being like that at all. I never got
No,
to
but
sit
you
on
weren't a
benches
girl
and
either.
ogle.
Normally they would be in class in a different
Exactly.
class. I didn't understand that part.
Oh, you mean the boys and the girls would be in different gym classes?
Well, the boys would be doing their own gym, or they would be
In a
participating
class.
in the gym class with them, or they would be.
It was like they were off of school or something. That's why I thought it was
yeah,
separate from
that
gym.
was weird. But yeah.
But then at the one point, she walks over to the guy and she's like, "I'm in class."
Mhm.
Like, you know what I mean? So
Confusing.
yeah. So
yeah,
maybe
I wonder if they were on like a study hall kind of thing where they could just go wherever they wanted. Like, you know,
Maybe.
sometimes during study hall, people can just not actually be in study hall and
Yeah.
do whatever.
That would make
Yes.
sense, I guess.
There didn't really seem to be adults anywhere doing anything.
The only time they'd show up is when something was happening and they'd have to be like, hey, break it up, over and over again. So they really hate Trina. Ginger's plan is to go steal her dog because all these dogs have been being killed and it would freak her out a lot,
Yeah.
right? So they leave in the middle of the night to go get the dog, and they find a dog that's been destroyed, and it's still
in the
warm.
park.
Yeah, which means that whatever killed it's still around. And then she gets attacked by a werewolf.
Yeah, before she gets attacked, she notices that she has her period. She
Oh,
got
right,
her
right,
period for
right.
the first time.
And that probably attracted the werewolf. I remember Friday the 13th too. I don't know why they put this in the movie, but Paul is like, for the women counselors here, make sure to keep yourselves clean on your menstrual cycle, because bears will find you. And all through the movie, like, he's writing on stuff with red lipstick, watch out for bears, watch out for bears.
Jesus.
Yeah. There's a big difference between the person who made this movie's understanding of women and the person who made Friday the 13th 2's
sure.
understanding of women.
As soon as the werewolf grabbed her, I was like, oh, Ginger snaps.
Yep.
I get it
Isn't
now.
funny?
That's why I was like, why do they make more of these? She's dead. She's not snapping anymore. She's dead. Is she even in the other ones?
She is.
Oh,
Oh,
I wonder how that happens.
a ghost.
I'm pretty sure she is.
I did see she was in the next one, but I didn't see what she was. I'm guessing a ghost. And then she in all of them?
I feel like she is, but I don't know. Let's find out. One of them is the beginning, so it's probably a prequel.
Mhm.
So she would definitely not. But I don't know. Not definitely. It could be about other people.
What regarding werewolves happened to them before the werewolves?
Okay, Ginger appears as an apparition. So
Yeah, she's a
there
ghost.
we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you think being a werewolf makes her period worse?
Probably, and see, that's an interesting thing. She doesn't know what's really her period and what's turning into a werewolf because she's never had a period before. So she's like, okay, am I feeling all these things just because I'm going through puberty and becoming, getting my period, or is it something more than that?
Yeah, she wouldn't know, and these people are not helping at all. Her mom is basically just like, you need to go get laid, and her nurse is like, oh no, everything's normal. There's nothing you're gonna tell me that isn't normal.
The nurse was awesome. I loved her.
I
She
did like
handed them condoms. What did she say?
She's like, now you can get STDs and pregnant. Be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, play safe, I think.
There's these the what does Joe Rogan call it? The woo-woo people. That there's a correlation between like a woman's period of the moon cycle and also now werewolves.
Right, which I thought it was interesting though that they didn't go by the full moon in this movie for like the werewolf stuff. Like it didn't matter if it was a full moon or not. Like it wasn't like they would just change into a werewolf on the full moon. It was like she was gradually just transitioning into this creature.
I think it was a cycle though.
There was something about the full moon. She was saying on the next because Bridget was getting ready for the next full moon, which was going to be Halloween, but I don't know what she was expecting.
Here's a question, Ben, I have. Does this take place over the course of a month?
Yeah, I guess.
I'm not sure how much time passes.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
I do remember a calendar.
It was in the box of, I don't know if they bought tampons or pads, but it was in the box, like, I'm guessing so that they could keep track. But that's the only reason there was a calendar involved.
Wasn't Bridget marking days off,
Oh,
though?
she was too, to make sure. Yeah.
I know at one point, like, when she knew Ginger was gonna have sex, she was like, she's ovulating. So she knew, like, her cycle and, like,
right,
what
so
it
yeah,
was
it must
gonna...
have taken place over a month.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I think it might have been the full moon. That's what
Well,
I'm getting
the
at.
only thing is that, so with the actual theory about women and the full moon and the cycle and everything, you're actually ovulating on the full moon and you have your period during the new moon.
Oh, okay.
So
But
it's different.
everyone's cycle's different, though. Like,
Right, so the theory is that because we have so much artificial light, whereas, back in the cave times, you would have the sun during the day, but then you would be exposed to moonlight only during like the full moon cycle. So supposedly women synced up
Oh,
with
okay.
the full moon.
That's pretty cool.
Don't know if that's true or not. It's just
Yeah.
just a theory, but
it is really interesting how people that you spend a lot of time with, you sync up with. It happens all the time. I always sync up with my coworkers,
Yep.
and it's strange.
yeah.
There are a lot of parts in this movie where I feel like I should just let you guys talk. Because I know very little.
Girls and periods, whatever.
Most of what I know, you taught me.
I mean, werewolves. You know about werewolves, right?
Well, werewolves, yeah. I mean,
There.
but they take all of those rules and throw them right out the window, and they do it on purpose and even bring it up. Because they say, this isn't the movies, this is real. You can't just use silver bullets. There's got to be a different way here.
Right.
So, and
Because, I mean, they know that a werewolf can get killed just by being hit by a van.
yeah,
like
they
happens
witness it
in
firsthand.
the
Yep.
beginning.
So the drug dealer is kind of a hero in this movie a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's the one who hits the werewolf. So now he's wrapped up in this too because he doesn't know what the fuck he's done, but he thinks it might be a werewolf. So meanwhile, Ginger starts growing hair. Her wounds start healing immediately, and she's got heavy flow. And now she's interested in guys, which is different. So
She started growing a tail.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Cutest thing ever.
Has to tape it down so that it doesn't show.
When it was like real little and Bridget pulled
Yeah,
her
it's, like, wagging.
her blanket back and I was like, oh my god, that's adorable.
See, I was upstairs watching this and on the laptop while I was doing some other stuff, and someone mentions something right before that about trying to run away from a small dick. And then I turn to look at the thing and I see the tail,
And
and
it
I'm
looks
like,
like
is
that
that the small dick?
Gotta pay attention,
I
man.
know. So she decides she's gonna have sex with Jason. This reminds me of Excision a little bit. She's just like, that guy will work.
Right,
he's
yeah. It's not like she likes him or
into
anything.
means or whatever, yeah. And he wants to have sex with everyone, so perfect.
Right.
So he gets infected by having sex with her.
Yeah, and that's a new thing, right? Like, have you ever seen that in a werewolf movie where it can be sexually transmitted?
No, I haven't.
What are the normal rules for werewolves? Like, if you get bitten or you get scratched, like, what's the difference between getting killed and being turned into
I
a
think
werewolf?
you have to just get bitten by a
If
werewolf
you
and not.
get not killed, if you
Yeah.
get attacked but not killed, and they open a wound or bite you or anything, you turn into a werewolf.
Okay.
And then they can be killed by a silver bullet, and they normally just change into a werewolf on the full moon, and then they change back into themselves the next day.
Okay. So would Ginger have changed back after?
I don't think so. I
No?
think that in this, it just seems like once they become a werewolf, they are.
Oh,
I
they
mean,
stay.
right?
That's what they are.
Okay. Well, then maybe it
Well,
didn't
yeah,
take place
because-
over the course of a month.
Because the werewolf that got hit by the car was
Yeah.
consistently killing
Right.
dogs. not
And you
just
could
once
tell
a
she
month.
was just gradually changing into this throughout the movie.
In other movies that I've seen where they kill a werewolf, after it's dead, its human form is the corpse.
Right, yeah.
So, and that didn't happen with the one that they hit
No.
with the car. So, first she goes home, right? And she's all depressed when she gets into bed. And her sister's like, what happened? And she said, I couldn't help it. I had to kill a dog. So,
Right, but you think that she probably
Yeah, you're
killed...
assuming
I
she
thought she
killed the
killed the
guy.
guy, yeah.
That's what I thought, but
But no, he's not dead. He's a werewolf, and he's not, not real happy.
I mean, like, even when they were just starting to have sex, I just assumed she was gonna kill him, because, I mean, she seemed very ferocious
aggressive.
there.
Very aggressive.
He shows up. He shows up with his. Well, she says I was nothing but. What'd she call herself?
Yeah.
Just a lay. She was just a lay. That's all she was. And he's just gonna make fun of her, whatever, the next day with his friends. So, and sure enough, he
Yeah.
shows up at school looking like shit
Right.
because he got the shit kicked out of him. But he's like, "Oh yeah, I got laid." So, meanwhile, on the hockey field, Trina is being a dick and cross-checks Bridget, and that sets Ginger off, and she just beats the shit out of her. Which, good. You know what? Good.
Right, yeah, I agree. But then also Jason's friend, Jason, that's his name, right? What's his name?
Jason. Yep.
Yeah. They notice that he has blood, like, on his pants, too, and he's like, oh, yeah, that's just red ink, and then he goes and realizes he's bleeding.
When he pissed blood, I laughed so fucking hard. I was like, how's it feel, dickhead?
Why was he peeing blood? What was that part of the transition?
Yeah, I guess so. Because I mean, I guess in this, being a werewolf is an STD.
That could be, yeah.
I guess.
Because I mean, it was transmitted that way.
So
So
that would mean that, yeah, probably Ginger's period is a lot heavier than it
Right,
normally is
yeah.
because it's not really what's going on. Half of it is, but
right. Yeah.
Bridget's talking to Sam. Sam's the drug dealer who hit the werewolf, and
I
she's
like
like,
Sam.
she's like, what happened to your van? And he's like, I hit something. Maybe a werewolf? Lycanthrope is what he keeps calling it. And
Yeah.
she's like, I know what that is. Inside her van, Ginger is smoking weed with all these guys, and this is all so unlike her. And it was like an overnight transition, and
Yeah.
it's really bothering Bridget because they've done everything together, they've been everywhere together, and now all of a sudden they're just...
Made a suicide pact together.
Yeah.
So she really wants to help Ginger, so she's talking to Sam about what can we do, and they figure out that there's something called monkshood. How do you pronounce this?
Monkshood.
Monkshood.
Yeah.
It's a flower that they thought was really hard to find, but Mom finds it at the craft
Right.
store. They don't know what to do with it, but they think that there's a cure there.
Right.
So But that we're gonna get back to that because next Trina, who's all beat up, comes over and wants to kick the shit out of Ginger. So, but that's not happening. Ginger's fucking beefy now, and she drags her into the kitchen. And I don't know. Maybe she's gonna eat her. I don't know. But through the chaos,
No, I don't think she was because Bridget even asked her, she's like, if I wasn't here, would you have eaten her? And she's like, no, that would be like having sex with her. Like, remember, did you hear that?
Oh, yeah, what the
So,
fuck?
like, maybe for her, like, she gets these urges. But then, I mean, is that what
They're eating dogs.
But are they actually eating them or just...
Tearing them to pieces.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what she's eating and what she's just shredding up.
I mean,
Right.
the dogs don't get, like, eaten.
No,
like,
I think
they just
that
kind
she's
of
just
get torn
destroying
apart.
them. And, yeah.
I don't know, but none of that matters because she slips on some milk and cracks her head, and I audibly gasped when that happened.
Yeah. It was kind of cool looking seeing the blood mixing with the milk on the floor.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it looked...
I mean, I do remember that, yeah.
Yep.
Like, it looked kind of artistic seeing it, like...
Also, Ginger's been real pissy towards her mom, who went out to go out to eat or something. So when she gets back home, her and her dad come in and see them on the floor playing in Trina's blood and pretending they're doing another suicide photo, and they're like, clean that up, guys. Like, I love it. The parents are just like...
Yeah, because they're used to seeing them doing that kind of stuff.
She's like, not in the house! Sam comes up with the idea to inject the monk's hood directly into the bloodstream because he figures that's the easiest route
Right.
to cure them, but they still don't know how it's going to work or if it's going to
Right,
work.
and they know that it's very possible that they'll just die if
Yeah, it
they
could kill her.
inject that, yeah.
So she's going home with that, but Sam, who's already confronted her once in a closet about this werewolf stuff, is now in public confronting her and wants to attack her, I think, and does.
Yeah,
So,
luckily the janitor comes along.
well, she jams the needle into his neck.
Oh,
and
I thought you were
uses-
talking about
Oh,
the
yeah.
first time.
The first time, yeah, he had already been like, is your sister hiding her tail, maybe? Because I am. So
Yeah.
he gets stabbed in the neck with the, and
Yeah.
his behavior immediately changes. So she's like, oh, it works.
Right,
Perfect.
yeah.
But she just, from here to the end, she just can't get a minute to give Ginger this fucking antidote.
Yeah.
That was frustrating.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, come on, man. Just be like, can you just give me 3 seconds?
Right, and
But-
she should have just been carrying it around with her, like, all the time ready, just in case she got the opportunity,
There
instead
was-
of having to, like, trick her into going back to the house
Yeah.
with her.
And infecting herself.
Yeah.
There were so many times I was like, just stab her
Right,
already. Just
yeah.
stab her with the goddamn needle. Give half to her and half to yourself.
Yeah.
Come on, figure it out.
I guess just everything happens so fast, though, that it's because she goes over to get the antidote from Sam, but Sam's already being basically attacked by Ginger. So, like, there's no time. So, anyway, they bury the body of Trina. They leave 2 fingers in the yard. And the mom finds the fingers. Well, the dad finds the fingers.
Right, yeah.
Who's a completely useless character in this movie.
Yeah.
He has no idea what's going on, ever.
No. And the mom at first just thinks they're fake fingers that
Yeah.
they used for
She's
their
like,
photo
"Yeah."
shoots.
And she puts them in a Tupperware container, and she's
Yeah,
like...
because she starts thinking, these do kind of look real.
And Trina has posters all over the neighborhood, and she knows that they had beat up Trina. But she's like, eventually she goes out and digs up the body and figures out what's going on. And I think she's a great mom, because she's like, all right, well, I guess we'll all go down with this. We'll all go down together. That's how we'll do it.
Was she planning on killing the father, though, in with this? Or because they were like, well, what about Dad? Because they were going to just start a new life, the 3 of them. And she's like, well, he would just blame me.
I think she's planning on him being like, I don't want anything to do with you, and leaving.
But she wanted to burn the house down.
Right, that's what I
So was
mean,
she going
like-
to do it, like, before, like, while he's out of the house?
I think they were going to blow up the house. The dad would immediately know who did that and why they did it.
Oh,
And want
okay. So they were
nothing
just
to
going to do it, make
yeah.
sure he was not in the
They
house
didn't
at the
need.
time.
Yeah, he wasn't going to stick around with them, and they knew he wasn't going to. So they were
Okay.
planning
See,
on
I didn't
going
know if
without
she
him.
was just going to, like, blow up the house with him in it or what.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe.
I didn't know.
No one would know.
Maybe. I was thinking that would hide everything then.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's right. I mean, people do always blame the mother for, like, what the children do.
That's true.
Too.
That's why she feels like it's her fault, I think, too.
Right,
She feels like
yeah.
she didn't do anything
No.
wrong. She did nothing wrong at all.
Uh-uh.
She's trying to, like, get her kids ready for this change in their life that they're going to be experiencing, but they want nothing to do with
Right,
her, so.
yeah. I mean, some of it, like, making her a cake because she started her period. Our young girl's becoming a woman. Like, that was just embarrassing. That would be for anybody, I think.
But it was also
But she
nice
had
of
good
her.
intentions.
Yeah.
Right. It was odd, but she was always like, "Do you need to talk?" What do
Right,
you know,
yeah. Like, she was really
very
trying
open.
to be a good mother. And then, like, when she would try to be a little more involved, and then Bridget was like, Ginger really likes it that you just let us figure out stuff for ourselves. And she's like, I wondered if that approach was working. And
I like this mom a hell of a lot more than the one from Excision because I keep going
Definitely.
back to that because it's,
Yeah.
you know, teenagers, blood, all that stuff.
yeah, this was actually a nice, caring mother, definitely.
So, Sam is having a Halloween party. Bridget locks Ginger in that room, in the room, so that she won't get out so she can go get a cure for her. But she gets out and then goes to the school.
I felt bad for the poor janitor. He didn't do anything wrong.
No, he didn't. I feel bad for Sam, too.
Yeah, definitely.
He didn't do anything wrong.
No, he's trying to help.
I can't remember the order. I know they end up at the party. I can't remember.
The stuff in the school's not that important. She just kills the janitor, kills the principal, and goes to the party. Or in a different order, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Point is, she's at the party and she has explicit plans and tells Bridget, I'm going to sleep with Sam. What are you going to do about it? And Bridget doesn't care about that because Bridget and Sam don't really like each other that way.
Right, but she doesn't want her
But
to
she
kill
doesn't
him.
want anything to happen to him, right? So, or her even, because, I mean, at some point, like, if she kills somebody in public, she might be in trouble.
Right.
So, she's walking to the party, and her mom is now, after finding the body, driving there, finds her, and drives her to the party with the plan to blow up the house. Tells her the plan to blow up the house, and they get to the party, and she goes to get Ginger out of the house, but Ginger's in the back room trying to have sex with Sam, and Sam's not having it, so Sam gets the shit kicked out of him.
And at this point, she's looking very werewolfy.
Oh,
Yeah.
And everybody's like, great costume! Like, she's been walking around with fangs for like a week.
I know, nobody's
No
mentioned
one
anything
said
about
Her
it.
nails are all thick and pointy. She's got like
Yeah.
gray highlights in her hair.
Maybe
And
they're
then
just like, this typical her, I guess.
when she was with Sam and she took her shirt off and she had like several teats.
Right,
Yeah,
I was like, wow. Going all out.
There is this person I know that wears like fangs like all the time. That's just his thing. Like it looks like they're his teeth, but they're not really.
No, they were-
So I mean, maybe they thought she was just doing that kind of thing.
She's emo goth
Yeah.
chick.
There were people
Because they
who
were like that. I mean, they could have maybe.
There were
gotten to
people
that.
who were getting their teeth filed down into fangs by their dentists.
Mhm.
And I'm like, you people. Fucking insane!
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that.
I can't believe a dentist would actually do that.
Dennis
You'd probably
gets
have to find a dentist that would be willing
A
to
goth
do it.
dentist.
A goth dentist, yeah.
See, we're talking about dentists like they're normal people, but nobody who puts their hands inside several strangers' mouths with hooks is normal. So,
So you don't like dentists?
obviously not. No. 'Cause-
I loved on our last one, somebody commented and they were like,
I
I'm a
am
cop
a cop.
listening to the show.
yeah.
So apparently we do have cops listening.
Oh yeah, that was a good comment. That was funny.
Bridget cuts her hand and cuts Ginger's hand and puts their blood together so that now they're blood sisters, I guess.
Right, yeah.
Well, she's infecting herself.
She's infecting herself.
And Ginger's-
I mean, they had been like, you know, obviously not as close as they were, and like Ginger was like, we barely know each other anymore. We're so different. So
That's what did it. She's like, oh yeah? So
Bridget was trying to get her trust again.
yeah,
I guess.
that's why later on with Sam, she tries to drink the blood, but she's like, I can't do it. She's trying to get Ginger to trust her.
yeah.
So,
Oh right.
'Cause then
I
she
was
throws up the blood.
What? Right? What?
yeah, if she would have drank it, I think Sam might have been okay. But
Yeah.
she couldn't do it.
No.
So they decide to leave, and as they're leaving, Sam makes the mistake of the movie, in my opinion, and hits her in the back of the head with a shovel.
Yeah, but he didn't know what was going on. He didn't know the plan that Bridget had in mind.
Right. So now they got to take unconscious Ginger back to the house. They leave the mom there. You never see her again, which I...
Yeah, I know. I was like, I wonder whatever happened to the mom. She's probably still wandering around that party looking for her daughters.
That party looked horrifying.
I know. I'm like, oh.
You
dear.
couldn't take a step without being like, "Ugh," pushing people off.
Unless you were Bridget, you walked right through
Yeah.
the middle of
Yeah.
everybody, and I was
And he-
like. When the mom was walking through and like couldn't
Yeah.
take one step, and I'm like, well, Bridget did it, like, or no, Ginger did it.
Ginger just kissed everybody who came up to her. That's how she handled it. So they get back to the house, and Ginger busts out of the... She's now a full werewolf, and she busts out of the back of the van and takes off into the house. So Bridget and Sam have to figure out a way to make this stuff while there's a werewolf running around in the house.
Yeah, they're like hiding from her and making this concoction.
And they manage to get into a closet and make it. And the plan is, Sam's plan is that they're going to go into the living room, draw out Ginger, and then get her with the needle, and it'll all be good. Except that Ginger pulls Sam out of the closet and tears him to pieces. Yeah. So then Bridget goes out looking for her, walks down a hallway and finds Sam alive-ish.
Yeah.
And tries to drink the blood in front of Ginger, who's a full werewolf now, but can't do it. So Ginger bites the neck of Sam, and Bridget takes off to their room. And when they're in there, she's got a knife and a needle, and Ginger lunges at her and basically kills herself.
Yeah.
So that really sucks. This is a sad ending, man.
It is.
Not what I expected. I was, hoping maybe there'd be a cure or like something like that.
I know, especially knowing that there is a cure, and they cured the one guy, but he's the one we don't care about so much, so that's a shame.
I mean, it's possible that after that scene he wandered off and died in a ditch, but we don't know. We think he's fine.
Right, yeah.
I think the ending was kind of inevitable because at the beginning you could tell they were starting to go down different paths. Ginger was still talking about suicide and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Bridget didn't.
Bridget was not so sure about it anymore. You know what I mean? So I feel like this just made that a much faster process.
Yeah.
Not that Ginger would have died at the end if she wouldn't have become a werewolf, but I think they were going to grow apart at some point.
Yeah, they needed to be their own people at some point, but that's not exactly how you go about doing it. But yeah, I thought actually that Bridget was going to kill herself, but the movie just ends. So that's the end of the movie.
It ends with Arby's.
Yeah, she's like, well, my sister's dead. I'm going to go get a roast beef sandwich. The end. All right, Em, this is your movie. You know what that means.
Oh, right. Shit. There was some stuff I liked about it. Some stuff I was kind of like, eh. There were some quotes that I thought were really good. Like the one part Ginger says that sex is just a bunch of squirming and squealing, and then he's done, and you're like, oh. And then also, what was she talking about at one point? They were going to get away with something because she said chicks don't do this stuff. Girls are only sluts, bitches, teases,
Murder.
or the virgin next door.
Murder.
Right.
Murder. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, like when they were going after the.
No, when they killed Trina. They're like, they're
Yeah,
not
they
going to
thought
suspect
they'd
us.
get
Girls
away
don't do
with
this.
it.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I don't know that I loved it. I was kind of wondering what you guys thought about like all the makeup and the effects and stuff like that.
That
and
was
what
actually
you thought.
something I wanted to mention.
Go
They
for
didn't
it.
do any CGI in this. The director wanted it all to be like prosthetics and stuff, so there was no CGI. So that's actually
Okay, so
impressive.
I thought like as her face was turning, that was like amazing. The way it was like very subtly
it was,
changing.
yeah.
But then when she was the full werewolf, I was kind of like,
That was not.
is
a
that
great
good or no
werewolf,
good?
no.
Is it?
I mean, it's totally different from any other werewolf I've seen,
That's
but I
true.
kind of like that. I like that it's so different.
I just, knowing that American Werewolf in London came out in 82 and how good that wolf looked and how good that transformation scene looked with, less technology, which they didn't use any
Right.
CGI, but with less effects, less technology, they still managed to pull that off. This looked, it looked okay. It looked believable. It just didn't look great, but it was different, like you said.
I mean, I don't think it was bad myself.
The werewolves were kind of like, instead of being like covered in fur, they were almost like rubbery looking.
Right,
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was more skin than fur. I don't know. It was just
Like one of those hairless cats.
I've always said that, like, with fictional things, like fictional vampires, werewolves, Jason Voorhees, anything that's fictional, there's no set in stone thing because it's fictional.
Right.
Werewolves
so you
aren't
can do whatever
fictional.
you want.
Not sure what you're talking
Thanks,
about.
Garrett.
about,
Thank
honey.
you.
Neither are vampires, so
Oh, yeah?
yeah, don't give me any of that
Right
crap. Okay, so I need a number here.
Mhm.
Number. I'll say 5. It was pretty much right in the middle,
Okay.
I'd say. Yeah. Yeah.
You want me to go next?
Sure.
I'll go next. Okay. I really like this movie, just from the characters in it. The acting is really good. The story is really good. It moves crisp. It's a little longer than 90 minutes, but I didn't mind. I like the side characters in this. I was interested in what was happening with the main characters as people, not just like the horror elements of this. This to me, reminded me of something that we now call elevated horror, where it isn't, which I think is a stupid fucking name, but it reminds me of it because it's like more about the people, the story, not about the effects, not about just gore and guts and shit like that. This was I think this would be a great like horror movie for teen girls, because
Well,
that's
yeah.
I think probably who it's directed at.
Definitely.
But I liked it. Maybe I'm secretly a teen girl. I don't know. But the only problems I had with it were the ending made me sad. The werewolf effects didn't work for me. But the transformation up to the werewolf looked good all through the movie. Once it got to the werewolf, it was. I think that's why they kept it in the dark lighting, maybe, which is a smart thing to do when your effects don't look great. Just make it dark. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7. Lindsay?
I also liked the movie. I liked it back in the day when I saw it, and I still like it now. I might have liked it a little bit better back then, but I still like it. And I personally don't think the effects were bad. So I liked that, and I liked the werewolf. I liked that it was something different than you normally see from a werewolf movie. And I liked the comparisons between, like, a girl going through puberty and getting her period and becoming a werewolf. Like, all that was kind of different. And I liked the whole vibe of the movie. It's got a very, dark goth girl vibe. It's kind of cool. I liked some of the music they had in there. I liked the violin stuff.
Oh, the music. Keep talking, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go with a 7 also.
Okay, I'm gonna read some of the bands that were in the, because I was like, I know that band. Glassjaw, okay, Godhead, Killswitch Engage, Fear Factory, Machine Head, Hatebreed, and Saliva, and Shadows Fall, and Cradle of Filth. Metal bands.
Yeah, I
Except
don't
for
really know these people.
Glassjaw's not. Glassjaw's more punk, but Saliva, I was listening to it, and that is, of all media that I consume, movies, music, TV, Saliva is my guilty pleasure. They are rap rock. They are fucking awful, but I love them. So my ears perked up when I heard that. That was cool.
Alright, I changed my rating to a 6.
Oh.
I'm actually trying to think if I've ever seen any other just straight werewolf movie. That not with werewolves as like a side to a vampire movie. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I don't think I've ever.
You're gonna
Never
see
seen
another one.
Like, what are some like big werewolf movies?
American Werewolf in London,
I've never seen.
The Howling.
Mm-mm.
Those are my 2 favorite. I don't know what else. After that, it just becomes a bunch of like werewolves and vampires
Right,
together.
yeah, there's
Right.
a lot of
Besides
those.
the only, I think the only other werewolf movies I've seen are What We Do in the Shadows, which is vampires with werewolves on the side.
Yep.
And the series True Blood, vampires with.
I love True Blood.
Whenever someone asks
Did you
me,
watch Fright Night? Because that one
No.
has, right?
I think there's a
Isn't that-
vampire, or a werewolf in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like wherever there's vampires, werewolves show up, but there's no vampires in this.
No.
Kind of strange. With all the blood going around, you'd think they'd be everywhere.
Yeah.
But when people ask me what my favorite werewolf movie is, I want to say What We Do in the Shadows, but it's not a werewolf movie. So,
Right, but they're in there,
yeah.
and it's hilarious. Have you seen
Werewolves.
that
No,
movie?
huh?
Werewolf.
Oh,
We're
it's-
werewolves. We're not swearwolves.
It's my favorite
I've heard
comedy
it's
horror.
good. Uh-huh.
Like, it's really good.
All right. Anybody got anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, wait, we have to do our...
Yeah. If you want to get a hold of us, facebook.com/JustAnotherHorrorPodcast. We are on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Rate, review, and subscribe.
Or we gonna sue your balls to the wall.
Twitter at Just Horror Pod.
We don't ever have to put Twitter in here again.
I know, sorry.
Instagram is just a horror pod.
Thrill me.
Exciting. Yeah, that's it.